Hey there, Guy from Arturia here. In this video we're going to take a quick look at the new Granular engine in Pigments 2, take a look at its parameters and see what you can do with it. Let's jump right in. Granular synthesis is a specific sound design method that's quite similar to sampling, but the samples are not played back in the regular way, but are instead split into small pieces called grains. They can be layered and played at different frequencies, directions and volumes, offering loads of different creative possibilities for you. Check out this quick example. To access the Granular module, choose either Engine 1 or 2 and select the sample mode. The Granular block is placed below the waveform visualizer and is turned off by default. First off, we'll pick a couple of samples that we'll be working with. Let's open up the browser, and for this example, let's go for Marimba 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the bells and mallets section. They sound pretty nice. You can switch the samples that are being played by clicking on each slot. If you want, you can add 2 more, as the sample engine allows for playback of up to 6 sounds. Now, let's activate the Granular engine. The samples are immediately, but non-destructively processed by the Granular engine. To hear their original form, let's set the density to minimum, shape to 0, and the size to maximum. Okay, first Granular lesson done. Now, let's have a closer look at the engine's structure to learn what all these different options can do. The module contains a couple of parameters that can drastically change the original sound. Each one has a knob to control it, and some of them also have multiple types of behavior that are available with the drop-down menu. And because Pigments is all about modulation, every one of these is available as a modulation destination. The density knob sets how often the grains are generated. The higher the value, the more dense the grain playback will be. We can also open up the little menu tab and decide to use it with binary, triplet, or dotted time divisions. Let's go for the quarter note dotted. The Granular engine also comes with additional parameters that add variety to the main sound shaping options. These are called randomizers. We can use the random density dispersion to introduce randomness to the density parameter. If we set it to denser and increase its value, we'll create additional random triggers above the value set by the density knob. That sounds a bit technical, but it's pretty quick to get your head around. Listen to what it sounds like. On top of that, we can use the size knob to define the length of each grain. There are a few modes we can use. In terms of milliseconds, the lower the value, the shorter the sound. This parameter also has its own randomizer. If we want to set it to disperse the size in both directions, it will create additional triggers that will sometimes be shorter and longer than the reference point of the current size value. To guarantee a nice variety of randomness, let's set it up like this. Now let's work with the envelope shape. This parameter offers a few different configurations to choose from and determines the shape of the amplitude envelope of each grain. The knob below allows us to change the original shape. Let's leave it like this. We've already taken a look at the upper part of the engine, so now let's have a closer look at the 6 remaining parameters below: direction, pitch, start, limit, width, and volume. The direction knob lets you alter, you've guessed it, the direction of the playback of the sample. And also lets us set the ratio between the backward and forward playback. Let's leave it at 5% backward and 95% forward. The random pitch knob adds dispersion from the value determined by the tune section to the pitch of each grain. When quantize mode is on, the pitch of each grain will follow the selected scale. This setting can give you some pretty cool results. The randomization gives you a range of up to 3 octaves as well. The random start knob, on the other hand, adds a random offset to the start position. Setting it around this value will result in a pretty nice groove. Almost done, let's keep going. The last three parameters are limit, which determine the amount of grains that can overlap, volume, that randomizes the sample volume amplitude, and random stereotype, which allows us to randomize the stereo image of each grain. Using its pan mode and setting it to the maximum value will randomly play back the grains in the left and right channels. Width mode, on the other hand, allows you to have different random values for random size, random start, and random pitch on each channel. Now that we know what all these parameters do, let's tweak the other samples while using the sample controls to create a nice percussive sequence. First off, let's go to the edit mode and change the panning and transposition of all four samples. Just like that. Next up, we'll enter the map section to select one of the sample playback modes. For this, we'll use round robin, which will organize the sample playback in a circular order. Sounding pretty good. It's a nice groove going, but we're not quite done yet. We can also use the modulator and shaper mode sections. For this one, we'll use a triangle wave and tune setting at -6 semitones. Now, moving on to the shaper mode, let's pick the modulation effect and increase the frequency mod to 0.24 and the ring mod to 0.4. Finally, we'll use function 1 to modulate the frequency mod and use 3 simple effects to spice up the sound. So here it is. A pretty cool tribal percussive sequence made up of 4 marimba samples put through the granular engine. We've created something totally unique and interesting. Feel free to play around with different samples, sample map options, density types, and envelope shape settings to get the rhythmic feel that will suit you best. And that's it for this quick rundown of the granular engine in Pigments version 2. We really look forward to hearing what you make with it. If you want to try it out for yourself, start your free trial at arturia.com. See you next time.